Hey guys, Kitchen Table Magician here. Welcome to 6-Pack of MTG. This episode I'm going to begin with the results from the duels of the last two sealed builds we did. So if you'll remember, 2 weeks ago we did a Battle for Zen build, and we built around Omnath and some landfall, and then we were able to pull a lot of Cyan, able to create a lot of Cyan tokens. And just rounded off with some really good red burn and blue utility and card draw, and some nice green utility and a couple of giant manuses to gum things up. And in Amonkhet, the contender in this corner, we pulled a Ronas and a Scaled Behemoth and a Vizier for some nice bombs. We pulled Cruel Reality and a couple of Cursed Minotaurs, which I thought would play really well with that, and I thought Cruel Reality would be more effective than what it turned out to be. And then we just have some nice utility and removal, lots of cycling, and a Ruthless Sniper to go with that. And then some nice aggressive 2-drops and good utility creatures down here, and actually some decent flyers as well. So, the results are in. We played the best 3 out of 5, and Battle for Zendikar came out on top of this, 3 matches to 1. Match 1, Amonkhet was able to get the Cruel Reality out late in the game after stabilizing, but Battle for Zendikar was able to go really wide with tokens and get around the Cruel Reality by sacrificing tokens and finish the game with Omnath and an army of elementals. Game 2, Amonkhet was able to pin down Battle for Zen with the Cruel Reality in Game 2 and overcome that game with creature combat at that point. And then the Cursed Minotaurs did come through for the win on that. And then Game 3, Battle for Zendikar, went with Scion tokens really wide. And despite Amonkhet's best efforts with the flyers that it was able to get out early and Ronas, Battle for Zen was able to gum up the board with tons and tons of Scions and a Guardian of Tazim and just win the damage race in Game 4, or Game 3. And then in Game 4, BFZ and Amonkhet both just got into a slugfest with their beat sticks, and at the end of the day, after slugging it out, Battle for Zendikar did come out on top of that one as well, and that was just a slugfest. So that's how that went. All right, so we have dismantled the Amonkhet deck from last week, and we'll see if we can use Shadows of Innistrad to take on Omnath, the Locus of Rage, and all of his Scions, and all of the elementals that he can create, and all those landfill triggers, and see if we can build something out of 6 packs of Shadows that can beat that. So, pack 1. And we'll see if we can do a draft pick out of this first pack in the spirit of Sealed Magic. Alright, Flash and Flying at 3/3 for Stromrider Spirit. That could be considerable for a first pick. If there's nothing else that comes along. The only thing that would beat this would be like a really big bomb or some really good removal. Pieces of the puzzle. This is going to be some card draw. Expose Evil. This is a tempo tap card. Also gets you a clue and some card draw. 1/3. This is not that much. Stallion of Ashmoth. 3/3. Gets +1/+1. For some mana, activate this ability for their former, probably not a first pick. Explosive Apparatus. This is a little bit of damage, but not quite what I'm looking for. Voldaren Duelist. That's a nice aggressive card, maybe a bit later if you get into a more aggressive build. This is going to be some more card draw. This is going to be dismantle your opponent's hand. Lightning Axe is pretty good removal, actually. Okay, that's for consideration. I would consider Lightning Axe. That's very good removal. Creeping Dread, not so much. This is a nice duel. And then we have Second Harvest. For each token you control, put a token onto the battlefield as a copy of that permanent. This is a build-around kind of a card. I wouldn't necessarily consider this a draftable card. And then we have the Aberrant Researcher, which is flying in 3/2 for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put the top card of your library into your graveyard. If it is an instant or sorcery, you can transform him into perfected form, flying 5/4. This might actually be better than the Stromrider Serpent, so I'll put that, or Stromrider Spirit, so I'll put there. So basically, I think, honestly, I think at this point, We're going to be passing a lot of good blue, passing some decent blue along. So I think I would go ahead and take the Researcher because some of that blue might come back to us. Otherwise, I would take the Axe. These are both very good cards. So I'm going to pick the Researcher out of this pack. Okay, so moving through the other 5 packs, I'll just cut right to the rares and see what we get there. And then when I'm done with that, I'll sort the card mix out, and we'll go through what we pulled. Oh, it's a mythic. Nice. Geralf's Masterpiece. Flying. It gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand. And it's a 7/7 for 5. Holy crap. Discard 3 cards. Return this from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Holy crap. Okay, this is what I'm talking about when I say a bomb. This is a nice bomby card. I'm sure I can build a deck where I can get rid of my hand. And then we have a Daring Sleuth. When you sacrifice... Oh, when you sacrifice a clue, transform the Sleuth into a 3/2 with Prowess. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, I get to investigate. Wow, okay, I see a solid blue deck in the makings here. Hey, and I even got the clue token to go with it. So far, out of 2 packs, I've seen a lot of blue. So maybe we can build something that can deal with Omnath and his little Scion minions. Fanning through, real slow here. Alright, and our rare is Ever After. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those creatures is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types, and then put this on the bottom of its owner's library. Very interesting. And then a Convicted Killer, which is our flip card, into a Branded Howler, and another clue. Alright. Pack 3. Yep, I'm seeing lots of blue. I'm not sure what to back it up with yet. I need to take a little bit closer look at these other colors. But nothing's really jumping out at this point. The Eerie Interlude is our rare. Exile any number of target creatures you control, then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control. Wow, this is a massive blink. Holy cow. And a Breakneck Rider for our flip card, which turns into a Neck Breaker. So when these transform cards first came out in original Innistrad, I really had mixed feelings when I saw the previews and stuff, and I actually did walk away from the game for a little bit because I just thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. They've kind of grown on me over time now, and some of them are actually very, very, very good. So I've enjoyed getting to know them a little bit. All right, Scourge Wolf, 2 red, first strike, 2/2. Delirium, it has double strike as long as you have the Delirium. Wow. And a Lambhold Pacifist, unless you can't attack unless you control a creature with power 4 or greater, and it transforms into a Lambhold Butcher. All right, I think I'm seeing some fair red, but again, at a glance, I'll have to go back through, sort the colors, and really study things a little harder. But okay, another nice flyer in blue. Nice catalog there. So I am seeing definitely that I'll be in blue for sure. All right, on our rare is a Flameblade Angel. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to a permanent you control, you may have Flameblade Angel deal 1 damage to that source's controller. And this is a 4/4 flyer for 6. So yeah, I think we'll probably be going with red as well. And with any luck, I can stay in just those 2 colors. And then I have a Hermit of the Natterskulls, which turns into a Lone Wolf of the Natternolls. All right, so that's briefly our 6 packs of Magic. All right, so I've had a chance to sort all these cards out by color and kind of go through and look them over. So we'll just go through them in what I think is the weakest to the strongest colors and my first impressions. And we'll start with green, which I think overall is the weakest color. It has a little bit of mana fixing, but not a lot. There's nothing really big or flashy in green, big and bomby. There's nothing really good for removal. But I mean, there's some solid humans and stuff, but nothing that just is screaming, hey, you need to play with green. I did look a little bit at the green and white mix for the human thing and maybe some tokens, but there's just not that much here. So I think I'm going to let green go. Okay, I think black overall is next. It has 2 dead weights, which is some okay removal if you need it, but it's not fantastic. It's at enchantment speed. It has Olivia's Bloodsworn, so it's got a flyer. And then again, just a lot of middle-of-the-road types of cards. Nothing real crazy.
Nothing that's screaming, hey, you really need to play with this. And I just didn't see any synergies with the black and anything else that was in this pool. So I'm probably going to set that aside as well. Okay, and white had an Angelic Purge, which is a really premium piece of removal. This is a great card. And it can make a couple of tokens with this Vessel. It's got a couple of decent flyers if you can get into the double white. But I think at this point I'll be splashing for the white, so I don't know if I can get into the double. Another way to create a 3/2 human and then a token. So, I mean, I did look at the humans and tokens and stuff a little bit closely and tried to pair with green a little bit as I was looking, but I just didn't see overall the build. So I think I'm going to let white go, which leaves me with red and blue. I think red is the second most strong color, and that's only because it's got some decent removal. It's got a Lightning Axe, a Reduce to Ashes, and a Dissension in the ranks, which can potentially take out 2 creatures if played correctly. It also has this bomb of a flyer in Flameblade Angel. And then it's just got some okay middle-of-the-road backup creatures to go with it. Somewhat aggressive, but they're there. And a couple little combat tricks with Madness, and 2 Vessels of Volatility, which I think is really going to help me ramp into some mana. So I'm hoping to just stay blue-red with this. And then, of course, we have blue. We have a little bit of stall with Jace's Scrutiny, plus you get to investigate the compelling deterrence, and then some flying. Just lots of stuff in the air. We have a Silent Observer, Geralf's Masterpiece, which is going to be a win condition, and just a bunch of other little flyers here. And then some other decent middle-of-the-road creatures. I might even be able to get a little bit of a mill strategy going between Manic Scribe and one of the other blue cards that's in here. Plus I have some nice draw, and yeah, some more to investigate. And then a Vessel here, which I might be able to get into with the Manic Scribe for a potential alternate win con. And then for lands, I do have a Highland Lake, which is in my, what's I think is going to be my colors. And then a Foul Orchard. And I only have 2 artifacts in this mix. I have an Explosive Apparatus and a Murderer's Axe. I will probably play with the Apparatus. Not sure on the Axe yet. So that's the card pool. Okay, so I've got the build done. I'm not going to lie when I said I really struggled with this one as to whether to go heavier on the red or heavier on the white. I went back and forth and finally just settled on the white. It just seems to be a little bit easier to play, a little bit lower on the curve. I can get a little bit wide with some spirit tokens, and there was just a little bit better of a card type variety because I want to get into Delirium a little bit for some things that I'm trying. So let's get into this. At the bottom here I have a Lightning Axe and an Explosive Apparatus. These are 1-drops. This is all removal. And then I have Mooreland Drifter, which is a nice flyer once I get into Delirium. And then Expose Evil, which will tap a couple of creatures. Vessel of Ephemera, which will let me get some tokens. Compelling Deterrence, which is a boomerang. Nagging Thoughts for card draw. Vessel of Paramnesia, and Manic Scribe. I'm going to try this as a possible win condition. I might be able to mill out. Plus the Vessel is also an enchantment, and I'm trying to get to Delirium. So the Vessels should help me in that regard. Alright, Angelic Purge, which was the best piece of removal in the mix. So I knew I had to play with that. Dauntless Cathar, when it dies, I can create a 1/1 spirit token out of my graveyard. Catalog for some card draw. Stitch Mangler, when it comes into play, it taps a creature, so that's just some tempo. Cathar's Companion, which can potentially be indestructible once in a while. I wanted to go with a few more sorceries. I think I've got 3 sorceries in the deck, so that's why Ethereal Guidance is in here. I was running a little short on sorceries. Okay, then I have Drownyard Explorers, which will come into play as a 2/4 and let me investigate. Silent Observer, which is a nice flyer for gumming up the board. Aberrant Researcher, which is also a really nice flyer for 4. 2 Inspiring Captains, which 4 mana for a 3/3 is so-so, but the fact is it gives all my creatures +1/+1 when it hits the table. So if I've gotten a few of those tokens, spirit tokens flying around, I can potentially hit with those. And then at the very top, for some 5-drops, I've got Reduce to Ashes, which is removal. Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, which is a 3/3 flyer, but it can get bigger with Delirium. Stromrider Spirit, which is that 3/3 flyer with Flash, so it's potentially some removal and a flyer. And then at the very top, I have Giraffe's Masterpiece, which is potentially a 7/7 flyer. Even at 6/6, that's pretty good in a limited format. So when I say I struggled with red, I really wanted to get into Dissension in the ranks, which is potentially can take out 2 creatures if the conditions are right, and Flameblade Angel, which is a 4/4 flyer, which can also deal a little extra damage on the side. And I thought this initially, upon initial looking through the cards, I thought the red support would be there. There's some nice enchantments here with Senseless Rage that also have Madness, Incorrigible Youths with Madness, and then 2 Vessels of Volatility. So I really went back and forth with this, but at the end of the day, I settled on the white. I did not splash the Angel because I'm already a little bit higher on the curve than I want to be, and splashing for a card with 2 red when you really have no mana fixing just wasn't going to work out. So I hope this can take on Omnath. I'm pretty confident that I can splash my 2 removals with the Highland Lake and round this out with some basic lands. So, red, white, and blue deck, very fitting for the 4th of July. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. And as always, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Comments are always welcome at the bottom. Maybe you would have gone red. Maybe you would have done something completely different. All right, till next time.